Hey everybody, I'm Andrew IVIMEY.
And I'm Diana McCollum.
And we're the co-creators of the From Superheroes Network. And today we're going to be talking about Infinity War.
And we're going to be talking about spoilers. So if you haven't seen the movie, shut this off right now, because we're also talking about deaths.
Yes, on today's video we're going to be talking about the deaths in Infinity War and what it means for Avengers 4. How does this change the game? What's going to stick? What's going to be reversed? Let's get into it. Alright, so a couple of weeks ago we did a video on the channel where we tried to guess who was going to die in Infinity War, just wild guessing, educated guessing.
Educated guessing. We're smart people who have seen a lot of movies.
Yeah, if you didn't see that video, I'll have the link right about here so you can go check that out if you didn't already, but we took some wild guesses. Now that we've seen the movie, let's have a look at how our guesses did, how right we were.
Andrew, how did we do?
42%. 42% correct. We failed.
We failed. We failed the death test.
And that's even ignoring all of the ones that we were maybes on and ignoring the characters who we didn't see or get a definitive answer for in this movie. Still a failing grade.
Oh, so we're not good at this.
So our predictions were not super accurate at 42%, which kind of leads us to believe that some things happened in this movie that were very unexpected. Diana, my question for you is, what was the biggest surprise in this movie that we didn't predict that caught you off guard?
To me, the biggest surprising death pre-snap was definitely Gamora, just because the other ones we knew were gonna happen were pretty obvious, because we guessed Heimdall, Loki, and Vision, and they're the other deaths and they happened. So the only real surprising one pre-snap was Gamora. Post-snap, when Black Panther disappeared, I was pretty shocked. That guy just made $1 billion. It felt like Marvel wouldn't want people to even have an inkling of a thought that guy might be going away.
Yeah, absolutely.
It seemed risky.
Even for a death that we think will probably be reversed, we'll get into that in a moment. But even for that, you would think it's such a big star and such a big character that they want that character right off the get-go of the next film.
Although I guess, you know what? They had already filmed this movie when Black Panther made $1 billion.
Yeah, maybe they didn't know yet. They should have known.
They should have known.
Yeah,
they saw the B-roll. They saw the dailies. Andrew, what surprised you the most?
Well, for me, it was a bit of Gamora, actually, because in our prediction video, we predicted that Nebula was going to die in this one. Kind of the opposite order of what we think is going to happen. We thought Nebula was going to be the big, I'm Thanos' daughter, I have some inside information, and she would die in this one, and Gamora would be a big pivotal plot point in the next movie. Seems like they're going vice versa, that Gamora was the big plot point death in this one, but next one Nebula might be playing a bigger part in?
Well, definitely. I mean, she's hanging out with Tony Stark. She's the only one left on that planet. So Nebula's gonna have a big role. So we kind of got like...
And she does have a big role in the comics for this storyline as well, which does kind of track and make sense, but it's still based on star power and the prevalence in these films. It's kind of the opposite order of what I expected, so that surprised me.
For sure. So we got like half of it.
That's not bad. That's not bad.
Flip it. Give us a half point.
Half points. We're up to 48%. Still failing, but we did our best.
But close.
Yes. So that was a quick look at our predictions and how they turned out and a few of the surprises, but now let's get into what it all means. Alright, so after this movie there has been a lot of conversation about which deaths are going to stick and which will not, because obviously when you're dealing with the Infinity Gauntlet that can change anything with the snap of fingers, you can reverse a lot of stuff. Some people have been saying that, oh, everything's going to be reversed. I don't agree with that. I think some deaths are permanent in this movie and some will be reversed. Diana, which do you think is which?
I think everything pre-snap is pretty much a real death. I think they want this movie to have gravitas going forward to really affect the MCU, and that's not just with the post-snap death. So I think Loki's gone, Heimdall's gone, all the Asgardians are gone, Vision's gone.
They did.
They did. Gamora, we'll talk about in a second. She might have a shot.
It's tricky.
But because they're gonna bring people back with the gauntlet, but a hero's gonna do it. Thanos isn't gonna change his mind. So if a hero brings people back, he or she can't change more than Thanos did, because then you're just playing God and you're kind of a villain.
Yeah, then you become the villain.
Yeah,
you can't use your own morality there.
Yeah, you're choosing who lives and dies, so like how far back do you go then?
Where do you draw the line? Does Tony Stark bring back his parents all of a sudden? You know, like there's a lot that could be changed that a hero could with the gauntlet but shouldn't.
Yeah, so it's gonna be tricky. So I think definitely everyone pre-snap dead, except maybe Gamora, because the Russos, spoilers for interviews, have said her soul is in the Soul Stone.
Yes, she is trapped in there. So there is a possibility that, and there is a comic book precedence to say that maybe she can be extracted and saved from being trapped in the Soul Stone. Maybe that's something that Nebula would be able to accomplish.
Or even Peter. I know Nebula does it in the comics, but Peter is half celestial.
Yeah, that's true.
But he doesn't exist.
Yes, he no longer exists. So
it's a problem not
that's going to be a big problem. But yeah, I agree with you. All of the practical deaths, Vision, Heimdall, Loki, all of Asgard really, I think they dead, they gone. Gamora is an iffy one, and everyone who blinked out of existence, they're all coming back.
They're all coming back. I mean,
the second a hero gets the glove.
Half those guys have sequels coming out.
They'll be back.
They're coming back.
They'll be back. But there will be bigger consequences. That is not to say that crazy things aren't being built to in the next movie. So that is something that we need to talk about. How do all of these deaths affect the next movie?
Let's talk about it.
All right, so let's talk about what all of these deaths mean, and especially what they mean for the next Avengers movie, because this has some huge meaning. Even though we agree a moment ago that everyone who blinked out of existence is probably going to be undone and brought right back, and we've seen a lot of criticism online and reviews and people talking about, well, these deaths are kind of meaningless because if you bring everyone back, why does the death mean anything? And we think that the next film is going to bring some very powerful meaning to all of these air quote deaths, because we figured out a theory of what we think is going to play out in the next movie and why all of these blink out of existence deaths mean something.
Basically, you kind of want your favorite character to have blinked out of existence right now, is the theory we're working with. So if you look at who survived the blink, it's all the original Avengers plus War Machine, who's been around since Iron Man 1, so I kind of consider him.
Originally played by Terrence Howard, but the character has been there since the first one.
I consider him an original Avenger. So original Avengers, maybe Hawkeye, I think. We'll find out. And then we have just Rocket and Nebula, who have kind of cosmic interpretations for the story. So what we think is going to happen is in the next movie, the original Avengers are going to get wiped out fighting Thanos. And then all of these new characters, because everyone who blinked out is a new character with a new franchise or with not a lot of screen time.
Yeah, we're talking about Doctor Strange or Black Panther or Spider-Man, Star-Lord, and there's going to be another Guardians. People who are huge bankable stars are the future of the MCU, and they already have sequels lined up and planned out.
So they're going to come back to life, and the original Avengers who've been around since the beginning, who are kind of maybe just done with the MCU, are going to die fighting Thanos. And so the real deaths are going to be the deaths in movie 4, and then the rest of the MCU going forward is going to be these new franchises, these new characters, Captain Marvel probably leading the way. And then the MCU continues from there, and it's kind of a soft reboot, and we lose the original Avengers.
So that's why we think that the deaths at the end of Infinity War means so much. For all of the criticism of, well, if they're just going to come back, what does it matter? It matters because the ones that we see alive at the end of this movie, we think are the real deaths of these two Avengers movies, this one and the one that'll be coming up next year. So yeah, who's alive is dead and who's dead is alive, and that's going to be the sacrifice play and why all of it has any kind of a purpose.
Yeah, it's going to be heartbreaking, and I think I'm ready for it. I've got a year to prepare. I hope I'm wrong, but I think I'm right.
Yeah, because the original Avengers are going to die, bringing everyone back, and it's going to be kind of a metaphorical and franchise passing of the torch of like, our films are done. This is time now for the new Avengers and the future of the MCU handing it off. So that's why all of the original characters are still alive at the end of the movie. The only two that aren't original MCU characters are Nebula, which I think she'll die in the next one as well, and it makes sense that she's stuck around because narratively we need a connection to Thanos and someone with information about Thanos, someone who could potentially bring Gamora back from being trapped inside the Soul Stone, and there's a lot of comic book precedents for that as well.
Yeah, she gets the Infinity Gauntlet in the comics. I mean, just in general, she's probably the only one who knows where Thanos hangs out on his porch there, so we're gonna need her. We're gonna need Nebula.
So it'll be the original Avengers plus Nebula. The only other character left alive at the end of this movie, or at least that we see left alive at the end of this movie, that we cannot make any sense of, is Rocket.
Why Rocket?
Why Cookie Rocket? I do not understand why Rocket is still alive at the end of this movie, because the original Avengers, I get it, passing of the torch. Nebula, I get it, narrative connection and someone to feed information about Thanos. Rocket, question mark?
He doesn't have a cosmic thing to do. He doesn't have information they need.
He's not one of the originals to pass off a torch.
The only thing I can think is because Rocket is a survivor. As we saw in Infinity War, he kind of goes with Thor to avoid Thanos. If he witnesses the sacrifice of the Avengers and tells everyone else and survives it, that could be the only thing I can think of.
The only thing I can think of is that the next one is going to be a pretty dark and bleak movie, and they need him around just to be comic relief joke machine, because even the jokier characters, people like Tony Stark, who's normally quipping and fast talking, is not really going to be in much of a jokey mood in the next one after he's been stabbed in the stomach and seen a lot of people die. So maybe that's why Rocket is sticking around, to add a bit of levity into the next one.
I can see that, because yeah, we lost Spider-Man and Star-Lord, so he's kind of our only comic relief character left. Yeah, maybe they just needed someone to just tell a couple jokes.
It's the only reason I can think he's sticking around.
Oh, we'll find out in a year.
Yeah, we'll find out. And before we go, I just want to give a quick thank you to our friends over at Pulse Labs Gaming Chairs. They make incredible gaming chairs if you're not familiar with their company. And not only are they great for gaming, for everything that you do at the computer. This has been the most comfortable experience I've had when it comes to gaming, editing these videos, working on the podcast, everything that we do here at the network, and everything that I do just for pleasure and fun. This has been fantastic for my lower back. It's made out of high quality foam that is just super comfortable. It's ergonomic and supportive. Great on my lower back, great on the head. It reclines a full 180 degrees, so it's great for taking a nap when I occasionally do that while I should be working on these videos. But thank you, Pulse Labs, for sending us the chair. If you want to get your own, check out pulselabs.com. That's PULSELABZ.com to get your own today. They're super customizable, multiple color options, and comfortable as hell. Thank you, Pulse Labs. Thanks for watching.
Yeah, did you like it? Hit that like button. Do you have comments? Leave a comment below. We want to hear from you.
Yeah, we're sure you have theories. And if you haven't already, be sure to hit subscribe and subscribe to the channel. All of our videos are free, so why not? You can even hit that little bell button if you want to be notified anytime that we have new videos go live. And thanks for watching. We'll see you in the next one.
Bye.